It's the next film in the Heisei era as Godzilla once again faces his robotic nemesis. It's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, which, strangely enough, is not a sequel to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Here on the Atomic Lizards podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Atomic Lizards. We're a trio of friends podcasting about the Godzilla franchise and other films we love. I'm Miranda, the film fanatic.
I'm Udi, the de facto film expert.
And I'm Dan, the Kaiju extraordinaire.
On today's episode of Kaiju Korner, we're covering Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 from 1993.
The UNGCC, or United Nations Godzilla Countermeasure Center, recovers the remains of Mecha King Ghidorah and constructs Mechagodzilla as a countermeasure against Godzilla. Meanwhile, a giant egg is discovered along with a monster called Rodan. The egg is soon found to be none other than an infant Godzillasaurus.
Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is a 1993 film directed by Takao Okawara, with special effects by Koichi Kawakita. It is the 20th film in the Godzilla franchise, and the 5th film released during the Heisei era. The film features the fictional monster character Godzilla, along with Baby Godzilla, Rodan, and Mechagodzilla. The film stars Masahiro Takashima, Ryoko Sano, Megumi Odaka, Yasuke Kawazu, Akira Nakao, Kenji Sahara, Tadao Takashima, Dajiro Harada, Koichi Ueda, Leo Manghetti, Andrew Smith, Shelley Sweeney, Kenpachiro Satsuma as Godzilla, Wataru Fukuda as Mechagodzilla, and Hurricane Rio as Baby Godzilla.
This episode will have spoilers, so go watch it if you haven't yet. Now let's get started. What are your initial thoughts on this movie? Dan, would you like to start us off?
So yeah, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. It was a very intriguing experience watching this movie again because as a kid, this was my favorite Godzilla movie in the Heisei era. It's one of the first Toho movies I remember from my childhood, that and Godzilla 2000. So I didn't really know what to expect going into this film again as an adult. Like, would it still be my favorite, or would the luster of charm that it had on me as a kid kind of come off? Well, after watching it again, I must say it wasn't nearly as good as I remembered it being as a kid, but that's not to say it was bad though. I still enjoyed this one, but I remember it being so much better when I was younger. I think part of it has to do with how much Godzilla there is in this movie. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the movie in the franchise that has the most on-screen time for Godzilla. There's also plenty of destruction scenes with him in it too, and you know, me being a kid, what do I want to see the most in a Godzilla movie? I want to see Godzilla, and I want to see him destroy cities. But you know, it was fun to see Rodan again, and a baby Godzilla that isn't hideously ugly, although Junior did make a couple unintentionally funny faces at times. Mechagodzilla 2 was, or I guess I found out before the recording, Miranda was saying that apparently this movie is just called Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 here in America, which I did not know. So in Japan, it's just called Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So like I always interpreted this version of Mechagodzilla as Mechagodzilla 2, but I guess in a sense he's just also Mechagodzilla. But so I'm going to refer to him as Mechagodzilla 2. But yeah, I thought Mechagodzilla 2 was cool. I like that he was basically a Jaeger before Jaegers were even a thing, and it really makes me want a Pacific Rim and Godzilla crossover now, so there can be an actual Mechagodzilla Jaeger. That would be really freaking cool. But all in all, this was a fun one. Not as good as I remember it being, but I would still say this is in the upper echelon of my top Heisei era movies. What about you guys?
In regards to my quick thoughts about the movie, I enjoyed it. I would say it was well done. A lot of the practical effects I thought and the special effects looked really, really good, especially as per usual, but especially in the third act, I thought everything looked really, really nice and crisp, and they just did a really good job with like the lighting and like the suits, like just everything. Everything looked really, really good. Try not to sound like a broken record, but I mean, I think the story was, just fine. the main thing with a lot of these is like really the third act and like some of the fights throughout before you get to the third act. And I mean, this one was good in that department. I thought the main big climactic fight was very cool, and Baby Godzilla was a huge improvement over Manila. But I wouldn't say that the third act was like one of the best out of all of them, in my opinion. Like it was solid for sure, and I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say that it's like a top five, maybe not even top 10 of my favorite like third acts in the franchise or anything like that. But it was a totally fine Godzilla movie with some very very like some of the best special effects and practical effects so far, in my opinion. I thought that all the suits and everything looked really really nice. Again, the story is what it is, and it's going to be like that for a lot of these at this point. It already has been, but yeah, I thought it was a totally fine Godzilla movie, and it was a good time. What about you, Miranda?
I thought it was a very fun and interesting movie. I don't have a Letterboxd review to read to you, but my first thought after watching the movie was like, "Oh, did Godzilla and Rodan have a bad breakup? Are they fighting over custody of their child?" And then I went on Letterboxd and looked through some reviews, and I found one that's like, they could have called this Godzilla, Rodan, and Super Mechagodzilla Giant Monsters All Out Custody Battle,
Not custody battle.
which I found kind of funny. I don't remember the like username of the person who wrote that, but I thought that was funny. But no, I enjoyed this movie. I like Mechagodzilla. He's the best. It's cool to see Rodan again. He's a great pterodactyl, just hanging out. I was surprised that Godzilla showed up like 13 minutes in, and I was like, what is going on here? Yeah, I think the way they handled Mechagodzilla, I forgot that there was psychics in this franchise. I overall enjoyed it, and yeah, it was a fun little watch. I did watch it on YouTube because some of the movies are on YouTube. You can watch them with ads. I think Tubi also has this one. So if you got an hour and 47 minutes, I would recommend it.
Just before we move on, real quick, Miranda, I also kind of forgot that there were mind readers in the Godzilla universe. And then we got to that scene. I think it was at the school or somewhere where it was with like the trainer with baby Godzilla, and then
Yeah.
like, oh, who are these? All these children? It's like, oh, they're the ESP class, and I was like, huh? And I was like, oh my god, I forgot
Like,
about that.
oh
I was like,
yeah.
there's a whole class of ESP children in the Godzilla universe. That's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, like, they bring it up a few movies before, but I don't think it was ever touched on in Godzilla versus Mothra. I think the same lady, I don't remember her name, her character name, or her real name. I apologize for that. She was in
Is
the
it
previous
Miki?
one. That seems right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, like she was there, but like I totally forgot that there's like people who could communicate with Godzilla via their mind, which, looking at like the modern day Godzilla movies isn't out of the norm. I'm just like, oh yeah, there's psychics here and they're singing and they're communicating pain and terror to baby Godzilla and Rodan. Okay. Apparently their singing can trigger eggs hatching. Psychics are back. Mechagodzilla's back.
Rodan's back.
Godzilla's back. And Rodan is back. So, some fun facts about this movie. It was released in theaters on December 11th in 1993. The film was considered a commercial success. It's the first Japanese film to use Dolby Digital sound formatting, which is pretty cool. And it was released as the final entry in the Heisei era, but then was followed up by Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla in 1994. They were trying to do this initially to avoid competition with TriStar's 1998 Godzilla film. So That's an interesting fact. I feel like that has happened several times throughout the history of Godzilla, where it's like, "Hey, this is our final film," and then they release another one a few years later.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that they initially wanted this to be the last film in the franchise to avoid competition with the 1998 movie, because this
Mhm.
was like a whole 5 years before the 1998 movie came out. But like, I
Yeah.
don't want to go too much into the history of the 1998 movie because I'm sure we can talk about that when we get to that movie. But
Mhm.
originally, because the 1998 movie I think had been in production since the early 90s. Like I think it was
Yeah.
originally supposed to come out in like 94. So I wonder if they were trying to avoid the original release date for it, which would make sense.
Yeah, I think they were, um, trying to avoid that, but then delays happened, so it got pushed and pushed and then pushed, and then they're like, "Well, it's not coming out, we might as well make Space Godzilla," I guess. So, it's very likely that that movie was gonna come out way sooner and that it just kept getting pushed, which is kinda crazy based on well, I guess at the time, they probably hadn't done any of the CGI stuff yet, so they probably didn't do that until way later, but it would just be kinda weird, like, this is a topic we can get into when we talk about '98 on, like, that production schedule, but yeah, it seems like that one was gonna come out sooner in the '80s. Sorry, the '90s than it actually did.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking back earlier to when you had said, "Oh, Toho's like, no, this is the last one, we swear." So never mind, we're making another one because it's just because like Godzilla versus Destroya was supposed to be the last Godzilla film for a while, but then Toho
Yeah.
saw how bad the '98 movie was, and they're like, "Screw this, we're gonna show you how it's done." I just think that's kind of funny.
There's a lot of common themes throughout the franchise of Godzilla, a lot of repeats. But, the last fun fact I wanted to share was that the decision to reintroduce Manila or, um, Minya in order to appeal to the large female audience that made Godzilla versus Mothra very successful. So they're like, "Yeah, let's add another baby Godzilla and let's make him kind of cute and not annoying like Manila." So yeah, that's the other fun fact I wanted to share. These facts are from the Wikipedia page, so hopefully they're accurate. But there's a lot of fun stuff on the Wikipedia page if y'all are ever bored and want some light reading. But I think that's enough fun facts for the moment. I'm sure we'll cover more later. Maybe. We'll find out. But for now, let's talk about our likes and dislikes of this movie. This is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. It's like the third one in the franchise. So we get to see some similar stuff and some new stuff. So who wants to like kick it off?
Yeah, so like I said before, this was one that has always been a favorite of mine. And like upon rewatching it yesterday, there's a lot to like here because once again, lots of Godzilla scenes, lots of great destruction scenes with Godzilla. It like happens like midway, but one of my favorite scenes in the movie, I think it's like after baby Godzilla hatches and then like Miki senses like Godzilla coming. I don't know why, but I always like it when that guy gets the call and he's like, yeah, what is it? Godzilla's attacking the city. Like I don't know, but I just like his reaction to that. And then yeah, we get some really great destruction scenes with Godzilla after that. And then I don't know, I thought some of the acting was kind of funny here too, because I like what's the name of the character? I had the names written down this time so I could remember them. Aoki, his character. I liked his character. He was a lot of fun, you know, the so-called pteranodon enthusiast that works at G-Force. And I like that one scene where he was talking with his superior about how much he likes flying dinosaurs, and the guy's like, enough of this. And then he's like, flying dinosaurs. Then he just like slams his fist on the desk. It's like, geez, guy, calm down. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So a lot of the I liked a lot of the acting in here. I thought it was a little over the top, but I felt that's what made it kind of enjoyable. And yeah, I mentioned before, I really liked Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla was cool. I liked that he was being controlled by people. Like he was like just a big robot that could be controlled. Like that was really cool. Like I said, blueprints for a Jaeger. It's not the same thing as a Jaeger because, you know, that's the way they control the Jaegers are different, but it still reminds me of one. So I think that's really cool. And let me see. I did write down some stuff as I was watching the movie. Let me see what I have written down here. Rodan. I thought Rodan was interesting. He's got a new design. They gave him a breath attack as well. I find it all the high side versions of the classic Toho monsters that didn't previously have breath attacks are like getting breath attacks. I'm noticing because like Mothra, well, it wasn't a breath attack, but she got that cool like antenna laser. And then they also gave Rodan like a beam that kind of looked like Mothra's attack from Godzilla versus Mothra. So I wonder if they just reused the same effect. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. I just thought of this, but you know, I was talking about Aoki earlier and how I liked his character. I also liked how he kind of just inserts himself into the research team because like they have a whole team of researchers that are looking at the egg, trying to figure out what's going on with it. And like Aoki just sort of enters without being invited because, you know, he's like, oh, I'm a pteranodon enthusiast. And then like the main female character, Asuza, she's like, you can't be here. You got to leave or whatever. And he's like, nah, it's all right. Like, and then later he's just like part of the team. He like just inserts himself into the team. Like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. You know, it's like, he's not even supposed to be here, and now he is here because he kind of forced himself into the team. So
I mean, he does kind of like ambush that guy in the parking lot.
Yeah,
when he's like on his parking job duties when he got demoted. So maybe that's how he snuck his way into like this team, was like actually, because then he goes and talks about the blueprints about Mechagodzilla, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna promote you. So I think that's how he got there.
It could have been, but he was already like just.
He was snooping around the egg though and stealing stuff.
He was, yeah, but he also was just like part of it from the get, because like I remember when the scene where baby Godzilla first hatches and like everybody's running over, he's like also running over. It's like, dude, why are you still here? Like, what are you doing? You know, so
they got to put him in there somehow.
Yeah. I also there's a part where Godzilla's like destroying Kyoto and somebody's like, somebody has to do something or else Kyoto will be destroyed. It's like, I'm pretty sure Kyoto's already destroyed. You're a little late. A little late there. Oh, interesting thing I also picked up. So there's a line in this movie that says a man has only existed for like 2 million years. So do you remember in the 1954 film how they said that dinosaurs existed 2 million years ago? I wonder if that's the reason why, because it's like, oh, man's been around for 2 million years. So dinosaurs, they came before man. So 2 million years ago, we had dinosaurs. Like, I wonder if that's where that logic came from. I don't know for sure if that is the case for why they said that in that movie, but it just makes me think.
Coincidence? I think not.
Coincidence? I think not. Yeah. In terms of my likes, like those are pretty much everything I liked about the film. In terms of dislikes, I mean, I don't have a lot really, because it's more of just the same that we've already gotten in the Heisei era. Like if you think like the ESP plot is ridiculous or stuff like that, well, we've already been getting that in some of the previous other films. So this is kind of just more of the same. I mean, there's not really anything I would say I inherently disliked about this movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I agree, there's not many things to dislike about this movie. It's very samey as all the other ones. I mean, we're like more than halfway through the franchise at this point. And side note, super excited for Godzilla X Kong Supernova. That looked really, like their little teaser trailer announcement looked really cool. Back to this movie though, like you were saying, it's kind of samey as the other stuff, and there's not much to really dislike. But I did not like when they were speaking Japanese and then would switch to English and then back to Japanese like right away. I could not process what they were saying in English. I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, that was one thing I forgot to mention too. It was really weird. They would just speak like legitimate English. Like they didn't dub them over or anything. It's just the Japanese actors would try to speak English, and it was very strange. It's like, why? But I guess it has something because they explain in the movie, I think at the beginning, that they gathered a team of scientists to create
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla, and I think one of them is an American. So they
Yeah.
probably got like Americans to help pilot Mechagodzilla because the blonde lady, there's
Yeah.
no way she's Japanese. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the United Nations
yeah.
United Nation Godzilla Countermeasure Center. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm expecting, like, other people other than, Japanese people to be there. It's just, like, as a movie watching experience, my brain can't process that, fast enough. It can't switch fast enough. To actually understand what they're saying in English because sitting here and I'm reading captions and I'm paying attention to the captions. So then when it switches, I'm like, okay. So I did have to rewind it a few times,
Hmm.
but other than that, I didn't have any. I didn't have too many dislikes on this movie. I found it very enjoyable. One of the things that I did like is the line, "This isn't a summer camp for dinosaur freaks," which I found funny. Um,
Yeah, I think
like,
that's
wow,
also
that's just rude and mean, but
yeah, sorry. I just want to say real quick. I think that's also when the guy like slams his fist on the table. He's like dinosaur fan or whatever, and then he just like slams his fist on the table for like no reason. Sorry, just wanted to mention that real quick.
Mhm.
I also kind of had the same thing where like I was watching it and it was like mostly in Japanese and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, they're speaking English all of a sudden. What? Like what's
Yeah,
happening?
like, that's
And
so
then like
weird.
then it would go back to just like being all Japanese again and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, they're speaking English now. I'm like, what? What happened? What? It was very
Yeah.
just kind of jarring.
Yes, very jarring, caught me off guard. It's not the first time a Godzilla movie has done that, but I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it.
No. And then I think like the peak of that was, at least for me, was I don't remember what the character was, but it was like that one American guy with like the sunglasses. I think maybe he was a scientist. I don't know. He was either like a scientist or I think it was like the guy who I think
It was like
um
wearing white with sunglasses.
yeah, it was like the guy like Aoki pitched like the jetpack on Mechagodzilla 2.
Oh,
Um, at
okay.
least I think. But then he like the acting with that guy was it was so bad. He was just like, "Indeed, yes, what a great idea." And I was like, "Oh God." I was like,
Yeah.
not the forced American part.
These people, I don't know if they're actors who are like the Americans in quotation mark in this movie. I don't know if they're actors or just English teachers that were like, we need an speaking person. But like some of the line deliveries were off. And maybe they're off in Japanese too. And I can only tell that when they speak in English because that's my native language. And maybe this is probably accurate. All of it is cheesy, stupid little dialogue and overacting or, being dramatic. It's a fun time though. That's not a con for me. It's just like, okay, I see where we're going here. Let me readjust and go with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to mention just real quick while we're still on this topic that it was very jarring for them to just switch to English. But I feel like the in movie explanation is because they had Americans piloting with them, so they just wanted to speak in their language so they could understand. But it's still weird.
There's an in-movie explanation for it, which is cool because it's not always movies don't always do that. So when you can give an in-universe explanation for something, I'm more likely to be like, "Okay, hey, that's cool. We'll go with it." I like when films do that because it just makes it a little more real and believable. But then I also wanted to mention a few other things that I liked was Mechagodzilla, obviously. But like at the end battles, they were like straight up toasting each other, full on like you are dead. So I liked that part of the fighting and destruction of the world and how the kaijus are interacting each other along with Mechagodzilla. And then I did like the little plot with Baby Godzilla and the scientists. lady and the psychic lady, and they're like trying to take care of baby Godzilla. And baby Godzilla, I think he added a unique feature to this movie, making this movie stand out more in my brain than maybe other ones, because Godzilla movies in general get really repetitive, and it's like kaiju versus kaiju destroy battle. So then to have this like little side plot where it's like, hey, here's a little kaiju, here's what the humans are doing, and making it an actual interesting story compared to like some of the other Godzilla movies where the humans are just kind of there and kind of annoying. They actually had like a meaningful plot within this movie, so I enjoyed that. Udi, have you mentioned your likes and dislikes yet?
Not too many, no. I tried not to get like too into it during my
Mhm.
initial thoughts, but I mean, yeah, like I would say definitely the main thing that I liked about this movie was definitely the practical and special effects. Like I thought the all the suits looked really really good.
They were very cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Like obviously they're not lifelike in the sense like obviously it's like all fantastical, but like in my opinion they're some of the most like close to life looking suits and effects that we've gotten like so far, especially towards the end. Like there's so many shots where it's like it's just like a guy in a suit or whatever, but like like Godzilla and Mechagodzilla look so good, and everything's so crisp, and they did such a good job for the most part with like the compositing, so that everything looks like the correct scale and everything like that too. Like there's a couple of shots where there are some like the characters, and either they're like in a damaged like building or room or container or something, and then like you see a shot of the monster like through the crack of the door or whatever, and or like I think it's a shot of like Godzilla approaching Kyoto, or one of the cities. They did a really good job with the scale. It was like, oh my gosh, they're so huge. So I liked all of that stuff, and then I feel like they tend to do like some of the glitter stuff when they're doing, like sort of fantastical things, but the glitter effects here are also very very good. Like when Rodan like absorbs into Godzilla, like that looked really really cool. Big fan of all the glitter stuff there. I thought some of the coolest stuff they've done with the glitter yet. I think the other one that I really liked was in Biolante, if I remember correctly. But like this one had really good special effects with the glitter as well.
While you're on the subject of Godzilla's scale and like the scale of the monsters, there's a point near the end of the movie where baby Godzilla is like standing right next to Godzilla and he's so small. I mean, not surprising, but still, he's like so small compared to Godzilla. I was just thinking Godzilla could easily just like punt this little thing like across the world.
But unlike with Manila, baby Godzilla doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, technically speaking, though, you could say Baby Godzilla is just the high-sci version of Manila, because there's high-sci version of Rodan, King Ghidorah. So you could say Baby Godzilla is just the high-sci version of Manila.
But he's
You
so less
could.
annoying.
He is a lot less annoying, yes.
He's so
But I
much
feel like
better.
that'd be doing a disservice to baby Godzilla.
Yeah, yeah.
His name is Baby, alright? He's a baby driver.
I like to call him Junior.
Hey, whoa. His name is Baby Godzilla, not Baby
No, man, I'm
Godzilla
calling him
Jr.
Junior. Well, I actually think he is known as Godzilla Junior, in I think Godzilla versus Destroya. Could be wrong though. Could be wrong. I don't remember, to be honest. But
To jump back to what you were saying, Udi, I agree. The scale and the comping of this movie is fantastic. Like it it it's starting to look like a modern day movie, and movies I'm more familiar with of the 80s and the 90s, and well, the 80s too, but like the 90s, and like it's starting to get that familiar feel, and I'm just watching it and I'm like, wow, they're doing such a good job with the scale, and the suits are amazing. Apparently the Mechagodzilla suit was made in several different pieces, so the actor wearing it was kind of like wearing like plate mail. Um which was interesting. Instead of like a whole bodysuit, it's like piece by piece, which I think works really well for Mechagodzilla because he is like a robotic type, you know, creature with his joints and stuff. It like worked really well. And then yeah, the glitter effects, like I do agree they do break out the glitter for fantastic, like fantastical elements within the franchise, but like when Rodan like sacrifices himself to be absorbed into Godzilla, who has a second brain, which is a new fact I did not know about Godzilla. I was like, wait, what? Hold up, what? That's new. I did like the way they like showed that and like used the glitter and like all of that feature like elements and special effects and stuff. It was all really cool to see and watch. And yeah, so I just wanted to be like, yeah, I fully agree with what you said cuz it's pretty cool.
I agree. I think all of that stuff was really well done, really cool. And speaking of Rodan too, I felt like his like I mean technically he didn't die because then he like Rio like came back to sacrifice himself, but when it seemed like he died initially in like the third act, that was a pretty like brutal death. He was like laying
Mm.
there, orange like foam bubbling out of his mouth. I was like, oh my god, like
I know.
he's
I like
dead.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's literally disintegrating."
Yeah,
Like we've seen blood, we've seen cheap blood, but like to have a whole creature just like disintegrate into like foamy bubbles, like rabies style, I'm like, I was not expecting that.
yeah. He definitely went out not the easy way. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. I believe he like starts off with being like knocked unconscious and like left for dead on the island when Godzilla shows up 13 minutes into this film.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Godzilla destroyed Rodan in that first scene. Like, it's funny because I was thinking during that, I was like, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 2019 one, I always wondered why Godzilla and Rodan like never fought in that movie. And then after watching this, I was like, oh, that's why, because Rodan would have gotten destroyed. So,
Toasted.
He would have gotten destroyed.
boo. That pun was terrible, and you should feel bad, Udi.
Well, I don't.
Don't listen to him, Moody. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
But yeah, that is a good point because they don't. I mean, they don't really fight that much throughout their history, right?
No, not really. I mean, they fought a lot in the Showa era, but not so much after that. Yeah, and even in the Showa era, they only fought in like Ghidorah the three-headed monster and then Godzilla versus Monster Zero or Invasion of Astro Monster. Yeah, I think those are the only two times I can really remember them really fighting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So this fight was like the ultimate fight that like ultimately broke them up then, huh?
I guess. Well, I mean, did you see how Godzilla like did you see what he did to him on that
Just
island? Like
demolish him.
can you blame Rodan for being like, oh, I'm never going up against him again?
Did they record this footage and present it in the case for custody? Because if
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Godzilla's losing.
Well, I was gonna say, like,
That's why the humans came in to take the egg, because they're like, you got too many problems. You cannot take care of this
if they're
child.
in the battle for custody, I mean, one is clearly one's child. Just saying.
Yeah, but like dormant genes and stuff. Clearly, Baby Godzilla has like some kind of mind link with Rodan with his glowing like red eyes and like waking up Rodan from unconsciousness to like come to like Japan.
This is true. I had randomly thought of the fact that Godzilla Jr. is like eats plants, and I just think it's a little weird. Like, so I was gonna ask you guys, what do you guys think of that?
It reminds me of in Shark Tale how the son Lenny, the shark, is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And they all like eat shrimp and eat like other fish, but Lenny, he's a vegetarian, so he doesn't eat other fish.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Fish are friends, not food.
I mean, granted, we don't really know what Godzilla eats outside of like nuclear energy, because they've shown
Yeah.
him eating nuclear energy, but then again, that's an irradiated form of him. I guess we don't know what the Godzillasaurus ate, because that's what Junior is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a Godzillasaurus. And I guess there's a subspecies of the Godzillasaurus that eats plants, but I don't know. Like, why does he still have sharp teeth? That's weird.
Better to chew with. But does this mean that canonically the Godzilla at the beginning of -1 is a Godzillasaurus?
Yeah, I mean, because because I remember back when we were talking about when we were doing our -1 review, or no, it was when we were doing our Godzilla versus King Ghidorah review. I had always wondered if Takashi Yamazaki had gotten the idea of that from Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, where the whole Godzillasaurus origin was introduced. So I would say, yeah, like in Godzilla -1, that's a Godzillasaurus. I would say so. Yeah.
Interesting. Very
Makes sense to me.
interesting.
I mean, Takashi Yamazaki hasn't straight out confirmed it, and I don't think Toho has either, but in my headcanon, I would say so.
I mean, yeah, it's like the only thing that really makes sense, because he wasn't irradiated at that point, so it's not like he was
No, he
an
wasn't.
atomic lizard yet. He was just a
Nice
dinosaur.
reference.
Thank you.
But
That's why they pay me the no bucks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But I was just gonna say, yeah, like he wasn't, and they even say in the movie that he's just a dinosaur that lives on that island. So
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, not to start talking about -1 for the third time. But I just had the thought. I was like, wait a second. I'm like, I remember this.
No, but like speaking of -1, and you said atomic lizards, I did like the fact that they like called the crew like Lizard 1. Be like, contact Lizard 1. We need to whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. I'll accept that name for their like little squad of people. Lizard 1, we'll take it.
I'm trying to think. It reminded me of, well, it was vaguely like Star Warsy to me, but it also reminded
like
me
Rogue One.
of, yeah, especially Rogue One. But it reminded me. I can't think of what else it was, but there's another movie with like a crew like that where, like, it's very on the nose, but nah.
Ready Player
It doesn't
One?
matter. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Who's to say?
I can't think
But
of
yeah,
anything else.
definitely like Rogue One was a good call, because yeah, it's like, what are we? Some kind of Rogue One? Yeah. But anywho, as far as like, I guess in terms of likes, I mean, like I said, like all the practical and special effects, like those that was all my favorite stuff in the movie. All the fights, of course. I mean, I think it's a given that like the fights in any of these movies and or the third act is just inherently the best parts of these movies. So it's like, of course, they're going to be like my favorite parts of the movies anyway. But like, as we've said before, all three of us, like all the effects here were really, really well done and all that. So I'll stop yapping about that. But in terms of dislikes, I mean, I didn't really have any like strong dislikes that came to mind. Thankfully, Baby Godzilla was nothing like Manila, so whew, that's totally fine. And then, I mean, there was nothing like, which like I don't have a problem with like weird stuff in movies. I mean, I like weird movies, and these movies can get very weird, and they have a lot of fun, weird elements. Like, as we said before, this movie has the ESP School for Children, which is hilarious. But nothing jumped out at me. While I think that this one didn't necessarily stand out too much amongst the crowd to me, at least in terms of like the story and everything else, like the effects and everything like that, and like Miranda said, this definitely felt like probably the most modern Godzilla movie to date in terms of like the filmmaking, like for sure. But outside of that stuff, or at least in terms of the effects, I guess I should say, not in terms of the presentation, but in terms of the effects. But outside of that stuff, I would say that I just didn't really feel super strongly about too much else to really be like, I disliked that, you know? It was all just like, okay, you know? But all the good stuff that was good was really good, so that's kind of where I'm at with this one.
But yeah, you mentioned, well, we've all kind of mentioned Baby Godzilla a bit, but I wanted to talk about him. So, Manila versus Baby Godzilla. Who would win in a battle? The epic battle of history.
An epic rap battle of history.
Yeah,
There actually is an epic rap battle history of Godzilla and Kong.
there is. Yeah. What did you guys think about Baby Godzilla compared to Manila?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all gonna come to the same conclusion. Junior is better than Manila by far, and
Yes.
yeah, and
So
I
much
feel
better.
like I feel like part of the reason why is first of all he's designed a lot better. Junior's actually cute. Manila is like, what even is Manila? Like, what is going
Scary.
on with that?
Terrifying. Sounds like a dying donkey.
Like, what is going on? By the way, I saw it made me think of you guys because I saw this Reddit post earlier. Somebody posted a picture of Manila, and then the caption was, "What was your reaction when you first saw him?" And I was like, oh man, I can only imagine what like your guys' reaction was when you first laid eyes on Manila.
Well, if you want to know, you could just listen back to the episode of Son of Godzilla. I mean, that's not our true first reaction, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we dissed him a lot in that
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah.
I remember being like, oh, maybe it'll get better. He never got better.
Nope.
He only got
It
worse.
did not. Yeah.
Mhm.
And see, that's the other thing is because like I don't know what the mindset was in like Son of Godzilla, but like they gave Manila just these annoying sound effects, like Miranda mentioned, like the donkey sound effect whenever he would throw a tantrum and whatnot, and like Junior actually sounds cool. Like he has that little roar. Like it sounds interesting. It doesn't sound annoying. And it also helps once again because like Manila doesn't look anything like Godzilla. Granted, in Son of Godzilla, Godzilla had that super like frumpy like face where he kind of looks like the Cookie Monster. But even then, like Manila doesn't even look like that version of Godzilla. He doesn't look like Godzilla. Junior, at least in terms of his face, still looks a little bit like Godzilla. So I think they did a good job with Junior. And I do find it funny that they made, like Miranda had mentioned, they made a baby version of Godzilla to like appeal to the female audience. Like I didn't know that, so I think that's kind of funny, and I wonder if they like doubled down on that in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, because we do see Junior again in that movie, and he looks a little different.
He comes back?
He does come back, yes, in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Yeah, so spoiler alert, I guess. Sorry, but yeah,
it's not a spoiler, in my opinion. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah, he comes back, but he looks a bit different. They made him a lot like way cuter in that movie. Like they tried to make him look cuter in that. So I wonder if they're like just doubling down on like, because Miranda, you had mentioned that female audience appeal. So I wonder if they're trying to like double down on that with that movie. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get to. Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah,
like it's not abnormal for movies and stuff to make like cute little creatures to merchandise.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty normal.
I mean, you see it all the time in a Disney movie. You always got the cute little animal sidekick.
Have a little cute pet. I mean, anything to sell a figurine or a stuffy, like.
Yeah.
Like, this is semi off topic, but like the Ninja Turtles TV show, like a bunch of the TV shows from like the 80s were literally like He-Man, all literally made to sell toys. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying they did that with Baby Godzilla in this movie or in Space Godzilla because I don't know, but it's not unlikely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think they did good with Junior in this film. He has a good design. He's not weird looking, although there are a couple times in the movie where Junior does make like some unintentionally funny faces. So like, but nothing on the same level as like Manila. So, but yeah, I like Junior.
Also liked Baby Godzilla. But I do have one thing to say. No one can complain about the babies in 1998 because we have a Baby Godzilla here. So everyone who complains about Godzilla having children in the 98 version can't say anything because he's had 2 other children before. Because I know that's a complaint people have about the 98 one, which we will get into more later. But I'm like, you can't complain about that because it is technically in line with the other Godzilla movies. Was it done in a way that you liked? No, probably not. But You can't say it didn't show up. Like, you can't say it showed up from nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think the complaint is so much the baby Godzillas, but once again, just Godzilla laying eggs, which leads to gender discourse within the community. So
You can't complain about the eggs either, because literally this baby Godzilla came from an egg. All of the kaijus come from eggs,
yeah,
so you can't complain about a giant kaiju laying eggs because it is in other. This is not the time or place for this conversation. I will save this. So,
yeah,
Udi, take it away with whatever you were gonna say, because I gotta stop talking now.
and it'll be an interesting conversation to have for sure because I have some thoughts on it too.
Well, I mean, as I already alluded. I mean, yeah, I a million times prefer Baby Godzilla to Manila. Manila was just, oof. I I don't even know. It was just like the worst decision that Toho has ever made. Um,
Not great.
yeah, no, no. And it's like, how do you take such a cool and interesting character like Godzilla, and like one that like, especially like the origin of Godzilla, where like it was like such a important metaphor for such an important story, and then you go, you know what? Let's make him a child and have it be the worst character we've ever made.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm a little harsh, but then I like see Manila in a movie. I'm like, nah, it's not harsh enough.
Oh, it's like
But
understandable.
I just want to add on to what you're saying, Udi. I don't think it was so much the idea of taking Godzilla and making him a child. I think it's just they wanted to make Godzilla appeal more to children. So let's give him like a kid to have that appeal to children, and it just wasn't executed in the best way because just both in terms of design and whatnot.
Manila was the Jar Jar Binks of the Godzilla franchise.
I mean, but Jar Jar Binks can be like a lovable character at some point, like Darth Jar Jar Binks. Like,
Can he though?
well, I did just rewatch that movie, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't know. I don't find him that.
You.
In the theaters, and I actually had to actively pay attention to it. I was like, Jar Jar's really not that bad. He's not great, but he's better than Manila.
I mean, he's pretty bad in the Phantom Menace, but I don't think he's that bad in the Clone Wars, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
They did reduce his role in the following movies, like significantly.
Yeah,
to be fair. But
okay, here's the question: would you rather listen to Jar Jar Binks talk or to Manila's little donkey scream?
Well, when you say donkey scream, I'm thinking of like a goat scream, but like a donkey.
Okay,
which
his
sounds
dying
funnier.
donkey sound.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I depending on what it is, like what episode of Clone Wars or what movie, honestly, maybe Manila, but for the most part, I would say, I guess, Jar Jar if I had to pick.
Okay.
Neither of them are great.
Okay. I'm glad we got that sorted.
Yeah. This is the perfect comparison that we
This is
absolutely
what people
needed to
tune
talk
in
through.
for.
But yeah,
The true
like Manila,
questions.
these are the
that
questions
must
that
be
keep
answered.
us up at night. When we're laying around or like rolling around in our beds at 2 a.m. We're like, oh man, Manila is just the Jar Jar Binks of the Godzilla franchise. We gotta talk about this. But yeah, he's just the worst. But Baby Godzilla, just in every regard already, like from the beginning, we haven't even like, I don't even know if he shows up in other upcoming movies. I'm assuming yes, but I guess I don't know. But like already just in this one alone is so much better than Manila. It is kind of interesting that they try to change him in terms of like he's a vegetarian, not carnivore. Although I guess technically speaking, I guess Godzilla isn't necessarily a carnivore either, so never mind. But you know what I mean. But yeah, so it was kind of interesting, and he looks goofy in like a cute way. Like he's really big feet. It's almost like a chibi kind of look, but just like not quite so small and squished, and like chubby, but kind of chibi-ish, which is cute. It definitely reminds me of like the design reminds me of like a toy from like like 90s or 2000s, so like it makes sense. But also way cuter than what were those like three little bats that they made for King Ghidorah in that one movie we watched recently?
Oh yeah, I
Was it the
forgot about those
Doorbats?
things.
The
What are they
Dorats.
called? Dorats. Yeah, like even those are like weird little creature freaks from like definitely from the like the era that they
Yeah.
were made in, but like we're not very cute. Whereas
No.
like Baby Godzilla is actually kind of cute. Like you were saying, like I totally would believe they only made him for to sell toys, and if you found like a stuffed animal of Baby Godzilla, I guarantee it'd be adorable and you'd buy it on the spot.
Oh, I bet Godzilla.com's got one.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't want to find out though. But yeah, and like again, not necessarily like the most compelling kaiju, but like just a cute, adorable, fun, good version of what Manila should have been, but was not. Um, so yeah, so I'll stop talking because I feel like I'm kind of saying the same things over and over again. But basically, Baby Godzilla good, Manila bad.
I think we can all agree with that statement.
Yeah.
They're similar, but definitely have their own unique features.
To put a reference out there for any movie lovers out there, same but different. I'm not gonna elaborate that. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. But yeah, I guess the last topic I kind of wanted to talk about was like, what do you think of Mechagodzilla in this version compared to the other Mechagodzillas? Like, I really enjoyed the rainbow fire breath as always. I think that's fun. He had his little like laser eyes again. Again, I love that feature of Mechagodzilla. Cuz it makes him distinct from regular Godzilla, and I think this is new. He has like a stomach beam, a laser beam, which I thought was interesting. But it's not the first time that a kaiju in the Godzilla franchise has some kind of weapon sticking out of their chest. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just accept it. His design this time around, he looks very like classic Mechagodzilla, and I really like this version of him. I think this one might be my favorite version of Mechagodzilla. Definitely more than like the monster version of Mechagodzilla. But yeah, he's a cool guy cuz he's and I did like the fact that they're like, yeah, the metal we're using to make Mechagodzilla is like synthetic fake diamonds, which I was like, that's an interesting detail. Okay, cool. We'll go with it. So I liked his overall design this time around. And it again calls back to those previous versions of him. Was there anything that stood out to you guys about this version of Mechagodzilla?
I'm thinking back to what you said, where you were saying, Miranda. I think it is pretty cool that they do give him like some more weapons, because like I'm thinking back to the first iteration of Mechagodzilla from the Showa era, and like I mean he could shoot missiles, and I think he had like the cosmic eye beam, so that was cool. So like in a way, like the whole stomach laser is kind of like the same thing, except I guess it's coming out of his stomach, not of his eyes. But one thing I did find kind of cool about this version of Mechagodzilla was its resistance to Godzilla's atomic breath. Like when it first fights Godzilla, like Godzilla shoots his atomic breath at it and it like absorbs it and kind of shoots it back. I think that's kind of cool. That's a neat way to like counteract Godzilla, because in the end that's what this version of Mechagodzilla is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a weapon to fight Godzilla with. So I thought that was pretty cool. In terms of its design, though, I mean, I like the design, but I think I like Showa era Mechagodzilla's design more than this one. But I do agree with you in that I like it more than MonsterVerse Mechagodzilla because I always felt MonsterVerse Mechagodzilla, its face was too square and too small. So I like this Mechagodzilla how it has a more defined face. It's not just a block. But yeah, I think I mean I don't really have too much to say on this on the high side version of Mechagodzilla other than what I've already mentioned. But yeah, I mean I like him. I agree.
I would say that this is definitely the best like iteration of Mechagodzilla, like chronologically speaking so far, which I guess isn't really fair because it's only really been like the Showa era version, and I mean seemingly everything has been better in this era for the most part. Maybe not every movie, but I would say in terms of like designs and practical effects, like all of that has been like way better. And like the suits and the production design, every pretty much like all of that stuff has actually been like way better in this era. But I would say because I got a little sneak peek of what's to come one day when I was flipping through the Pluto Godzilla channel, and then like I caught a little bit of a movie. I think that's in the Millennium era, and gotta say, I think Kuryu is not to get ahead of myself, but he's probably my favorite, and I think I've already said this before actually, but yeah, so I already know that he's only going to get cooler from here, but this version is very cool. I did really, really like this design. I thought the jetpack was a very cool touch and definitely felt very like 90s y. The rainbow breath was very cool. All the special effects with Mechagodzilla looked really cool. And yeah, I mean, again, I also enjoyed how Jaeger-y he was in this movie. Like obviously he's still not really a Jaeger, just in general. And still like quite different from that, but like he's the most like Power Rangers like Megazord slash like Jaeger-y to date. And I thought that was kind of cool. I thought he was definitely the coolest we've seen so far, chronologically speaking. But I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing how he looks in the upcoming era, I guess. In terms of like him versus like the MonsterVerse version, I feel like I find it hard to compare the two because they are so different. I mean, I think just outright, I mean, I have to kind of just give it to like this version because I mean, I like the MonsterVerse version. I think that one is cool in its own way, but it is just so much more plain than this. Like this one still has like a cool, just like a robotic Godzilla look to him. He has the rainbow atomic breath, which is awesome. He got the jetpack. Like just every part of the design is just cool. Whereas like the MonsterVerse one, I feel like was just designed to be kind of. It was supposed to look like how you would think like a corporation would make like Mecha Godzilla, I guess, and so it's just kind of boring and drab and simplistic. And it's also, I think it's just kind of meant to look kind of like scary. It's not really scary, but like if you were living in the MonsterVerse and you saw that, you'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so scary." So I feel like it works for like that. And the red beam looks cool, especially compared to like when he's like fighting with like Godzilla. Like it's cool. You can like easily tell them apart and blah blah blah. So like it works for that. But I mean, there's just no touching like the rainbow breath and like this design compared to like that. Like it's just way cooler in this than it is in the MonsterVerse. So I like them both for their own reasons, but I mean yeah, I would say this is definitely cooler than the MonsterVerse version for sure.
I mean, this version of Mechagodzilla looks like Godzilla. The MonsterVerse one kind of just looks like a unskinned dinosaur. I guess some people would call that a skeleton of a dinosaur. I don't know why I said it that way. That was so weird.
Well, to like, I don't know if that's what you meant, but it looks like an animatronic that like doesn't have like its skin, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah. I don't remember if that version of Mechagodzilla ever pretended to be normal Godzilla. But yeah, it's just weird. And this version of Godzilla, or this version of Mechagodzilla, looks a bit better. So I totally see where both of you are, and yeah, I enjoy Mechagodzilla in this movie. Do we have anything else to add, or I can go into the lizard fact of the day?
Go for it.
It's time for the lizard fact of the day. The lizard of the day is the common Chuckwalla lizard. It is from the southwestern United States and the northwestern area of Mexico. Their habitats consist of deserts and rocky areas. They eat desert plants, flowers, fruits, and leaves, and occasionally insects. And they can get up to 16 inches in length. So that's the lizard fact of the day. Let's now rate this movie. Dan, what would you give Godzilla versus Space Godzilla? That's not the movie we're on. Dan, what would you give Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 out of 5?
Yeah, this is kind of a tough one for me because, once again, this was one I really enjoyed as a kid, and it really does give me what I want in a Godzilla film, which is just Godzilla himself and just seeing him completely wreak havoc on whatever city he's stomping through. But it also left me a little underwhelmed from what I remembered it being. So I think I'm gonna have to go. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 3. I kind of want to give it a 3.5, but I'm gonna go with a 3. I think it's more of a 3 right now. It could change to a 3.5 later down the road, but I'm gonna keep it at a 3 for now. Cause yeah, there's a lot to enjoy here. There's some Mechagodzilla looks cool, like Udi was saying. The practical effects are spot on, and it has some interesting ideas, like with Godzilla having a second brain and whatnot, and then Godzilla Jr. maybe being like a parasite egg. That's an idea they bring up at one point in the movie. So there's interesting ideas here, but I personally was left a little underwhelmed at times. But it's still a good Godzilla movie. It's still one of the better Heisei era films. But I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5.
Totally fair, that makes sense. Udi, what would you give this movie?
I'm going to go with 3. I was thinking about going with 2.5, but that almost feels too low. I know I didn't really say that it stood out too much, but the good parts, again, the special and practical effects and the fighting sequences and whatnot, all of that was really good for Godzilla movies, and just really well done in terms. I mean, again, the practical and special effects, regardless of anything, are just really good and really cool for the time, and even now. So I just think that stuff was done really, really well, and it would be a disservice to just be 2.5. But again, I also didn't love this one. I didn't think it was super, super exceptional. But just the stuff that I was really positive about was really cool. So I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5. And you? What about you, Miranda?
It's got Mechagodzilla in it, and he's cool, and Godzilla's cool, and Baby Godzilla was a pleasant addition to the kaiju roster. So yeah, a 4. Plus, Godzilla has red fire breath in this one, which means we got pink, red, green, and blue, and then black and white. So we're eventually gonna get the whole rainbow of Godzilla colored fire breath and special powers.
I just want to say, don't forget purple. Shin Godzilla, his atomic breath is purple.
Oh, I did not know that. So yes, we got pink, purple, green, blue, red, and white. That's most of the colors. But yeah, very cool. I did not know that. But yeah, so I'm giving it a 4, which means the Atomic Lizard's average score for Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 is a 3.333 repeating, which would round to a 3.5 based on our rating system. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to our conversation about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. If you're interested in hearing more, check out our previous episodes, and as always, you can find us on Instagram at @lizardspod and on Letterboxd at atomic_lizard.